Thanks, Storm Shadow. This is Josh with TC&M Reviews. Good afternoon to everybody. What we're going to be doing today is reviewing the Rise of Cobra Storm Shadow action figure. He's one of my personal favorites from all the way back in the 80s when we first started collecting him. One of my favorite things about Storm Shadow in this one, his Paris Pursuit version, is that he's unmasked. As you guys can see, they do a great job of actually making the action figure look like the actor. So it's one of those scenarios that purchasing this will actually remind you more of the movie. That can be a positive or a negative thing. For me, it's positive. I think the movie was an amazing job. You know, for what it wasn't meant to win any Oscars for acting. It was meant to be a kick-ass action flick. So here is Storm Shadow with all of his things that you get when you purchase his Paris Pursuit action figure. He comes with a giant nanomite warhead launcher, which is just about as useless as the other ones that you get with all the other people. He probably holds it just fine, but to tell you the truth, it looks so ridiculous to me that I would never think to put one in their hands. So I'll just sit that back down here. Same thing goes with this little suction cup motorcycle thing. I think that's a throwback to when he was on a motorcycle in the movie, or when he had handlebars placed on a suction cup in his house. The actual figure itself is the same size as all the other Joes from back in the 80s, so they've done an amazing job, Hasbro has, in keeping the ratio about the same and making them all fit into one happy little family. You can even take your old Joes, mix them with your new Joes. This particular Storm Shadow comes with two different sizes, which he can hold easily in his hands.
If you had sent me, it would already be done.
Or he can throw that down real quick for you. Take out the rest of these sides here. He comes with two katanas, his standard, which go really, really nicely in the sheaths that they make for him and fit really, really nicely into his kung fu grip. Like so. So he can be doing action poses the same as everybody else. He's got the same range of movement as every Joe that you would expect to see, 360 degrees at all joints. He also comes with a nifty holster for his laser pistol that I keep nice and tucked away. I don't actually remember Storm Shadow ever using a laser pistol in any of the cartoon that I've seen, but he certainly does like to have one available in this movie. I guess in a world where fantasy and reality aren't quite the same thing, and you can have those type of weapons available, why the hell not? Storm Shadow is one of the classic figures. He's one of the original Cobras, and he is still one of my favorites. They do an amazing job with his paint for his face. Here, we'll take a little bit closer look at that. He really does look exactly like the actor. He does a great job in all positions, being able to stand on his stand. Some of the Joes and Cobras actually have a little bit of trouble trying to stand because their legs don't move quite as far as they need to, but this one is actually perfect. Now we'll go ahead and go to the back of the box. The back of the box is just like all the other ones. We'll start off with who comes in this set. You can get the Conrad Hauser in his impact armor, the reactive impact armor. You can get the Paris Pursuit Snake Eyes. You can get Scarlet in her impact armor. You can get the Cobra Commander, of course, Storm Shadow, and an Ice Viper. So they do have a great selection in this particular wave. Now we'll go on up to his card. It says, Storm Shadow is a ninja mercenary hired by Cobra. Storm Shadow can be counted on to carry out his employer's orders. The ruthless martial arts master is sent to Paris to make sure a destructive demonstration of powerful new nanomite technology goes according to plan. And his preferred weapons are, of course, his hand-forged steel heirloom katana swords. So, just in case you guys haven't seen the movie yet, they do a good job with setting up Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes in opposing roles and giving them some amazing combat. In as far as how I see the storyline going with them, I'm not so sure that I like what they did with the character. I'd say it's probably not final, but just a little spoiler alert, change it if you don't want to hear it. They actually make Storm Shadow fall into the Arctic Ocean after he's been stabbed twice by Snake Eyes. So we don't exactly know for sure what's going to happen with him, but with all the nanomite stuff involved, then it's not unforeseeable to see him come directly back. Plus, the actor did sign on for all 3 movies, so kind of a spoiler again there, you know, we will see him again in the next couple of movies. But back to his action figure, he does actually represent Cobra in a really nice way, in as far as this is probably one of the nicest action figures that I've seen. He does a great job holding his weapons. You can pose him any which way you want to with all the articulation 360 degrees like I mentioned before. So he can have all sorts of different action poses and getting him involved in fight sequences. You can set him up in base scenarios, or if you even wanted to, you could use his silly little nanomite stuff and his handlebars there if you wanted to hang him from something. We'll go on ahead and put one of his katanas back, his longer one here, and I'll show you what it looks like when he's holding his laser pistol. It's just a little bit hard, but you can see it comes right out of the holster, which is actually what I would prefer rather than just fall out. And it goes right into his hand perfectly. So, Storm Shadow, as far as his Paris Pursuit figure goes, I would give it probably an 8.5 out of 10. Just simply because I think that as far as Storm Shadow goes, there are a couple of small things that I didn't like about it. For instance, whenever you go to put his katanas away, you can kind of see right there that you can see the metal on the other side, and it doesn't quite give you the realism that you're looking for in a G.I. Joe. One of the great things about G.I. Joe has always been how realistic they portray action heroes. And whether it be from a cartoon medium or whether it be from a movie, I think they did a great job at this with Hasbro, but it would have cost them practically nothing to just cover up the other side of that with plastic. So on that account, you know, I think that does drop it in just a little bit. But all in all, an amazing fig, very, very cool, and that's Storm Shadow Paris Pursuit. So, hope you enjoyed our review today with TC&M. I'm Josh, and you guys have a nice day.
Stay tuned for the next public disservice announcement. Cobra!